Hey, this is Miss Brew. I thought I would just now do a video for you guys to know some activities that your kids can do with this book now that we have read it. I'm just going to flip through the book in order and just tell you things that I find off the top of my head. I usually find that most of my teaching is best when it's spontaneous, so that's just what I'm going to do. So first of all, the first thing I have here is this is Skippyjon Jones on the first page of the book where he is sleeping in this nest with birds. So one thing I might say to my kids when I'm reading this book is, why is this picture interesting? What is it about this picture that draws some interest and makes it kind of funny? That's irony. We don't see cats in nests in a peaceful way with a bunch of birds. We usually see cats chasing birds. So I would just pose that question to them or think about that. And if you're a student listening, think about that. What else is ironic about that? Do you think that would really happen? Is that something your cat would do? Could you make a story just based off of Skippyjon Jones or any cat hanging out with a bunch of birds up in a tree? And remember, he's a kitten. So do you think a tiny kitten, could get that high up the tree? I don't know. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is this. This is Mrs. Junebug Jones, and this is Mama, and you can see that she is wearing an apron. And what is that on her apron? Those are little kitties, and they don't look like Skippyjon, but they're pretty close. Do you think that a mama kitty would really wear an apron like that? Or what is that called when they give non-human characters human characteristics? That's personification. So Mama Junebug Jones is being personified as a human here because cats don't really walk around with aprons on. Here we see Skippyjon in his big boy bed, and there is his closet. I would think that what you could do is you could just look in his closet, look in his bedroom. Are there things in there that you might see in your bedroom or that you think would be in a typical bedroom? And also look at that closet. It looks a little scary to me, but that's his favorite place. Do you have a place where you like to go that helps you be creative? Because obviously we know that Skippyjon's favorite place to be creative is in his closet. Here I just want to point out that the words go bounce and bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. This is a form of repetition that authors use a lot. You can use that in poetry, you can use that in book writing, but it's also alliteration. Alliteration is when you have the same sound that occurs over and over in a text. So we see bounce, 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 and then we see big boy bed. So all of that combined is repetition, and then combined with big boy bed, that is alliteration. So maybe you guys can find some examples of alliteration in other books, or even in things that you watch on YouTube or in cartoons. Alliteration is used often. I want to point out the words holy guacamole, because number one, it's fun to say. And number two, I challenge students who don't know what those things are to look them up. Maybe you and your family can make some guacamole and have a reading party. That might be something fun for you guys to do while reading this book. Or you can have a Skippyjon Jones themed dinner and have guacamole. Here is the part where we figure out that Skippyjon thinks that he is a Chihuahua. And I would like to just say, this is an exercise in comparing and contrasting. You can see there is Skippyjon, he's a Siamese cat, and in the mirror he thinks he's a Chihuahua. What are the similarities between Chihuahuas and Siamese cats? What are the differences? between chihuahuas and Siamese cats? Are there other animals that look the same and can be compared, but are really nothing a lot alike as far as physicality and as far as species go? But do they have similarities? Think of making a chart or a Venn diagram showing your similarities. You're comparing and contrasting Skippyjon Jones, Siamese cats, and chihuahuas. This is one of my favorite parts of the book where he sings to himself and he's saying, "My name is Skippito Frisquito, clap, clap. I fear not a single bandito, clap, clap. My manners are mellow, I'm sweet like the jello. I get the job done, yes indeed-o, clap, clap." Putting a song in a children's book is genius. It helps the kids remember the story, it helps them remember the plot line, and it's fun. So maybe you guys can come up with a song that might go in here that's not already in here. Or you can pick out one of your favorite toys or stuffed animals or people, and you can make a song with it. Again, here's another form of alliteration. Jujubee, Jezebel, and Jillyboo Jones. That is J, 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 and J. All these different sounds that are the same. The J sound, the soft J sound. J, 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 J. That is alliteration. Here are some words that maybe, I know that in the past I have had kids surprised when I read this book to them, and they know that or they see that I can read some of these words, that I know how to pronounce them. That is just purely from my years of experience in teaching kids of all different ethnicities. But I challenge parents and children to learn how to pronounce these words if you don't know them. And I also challenge you to look them up if you don't know what they mean. Is misterioso a real Hispanic word, Spanish word? Is ay caramba a real Spanish word? And if it is, how do people use it when they are speaking that language? Same thing with these words right here. Masquito, poquito, incognito. What do those words mean? Why is that interesting? Yes. Okay, so here is where Skippyjon is telling the secret password, and the password is Achu Pichu. Maybe you don't know why that's funny, but why that's in here. But the reason this book is in here, this word is in here, is it is a play off of the historical site of Machu Picchu, which is in Peru. So I would challenge your student or you to research. What is Machu Picchu? Why is it famous? Why is it included in this book? What can you learn about Machu Picchu? Learning doesn't have to be writing things down and doing math problems or writing sentences all the time. It can be simply research. That's how we learn, and that's curiosity. And I just think that Judy Schachner is genius for doing this in this book, because she is going to pique the interest of readers. Okay, here is when they took a siesta. So I challenge anyone who loves this book like I do. There is a rumor, a myth, that siesta is not really a word there in all Spanish countries. That I've heard people say siesta is not really a word, and do they really use that word? Well, I've heard some different stories. So maybe you look up, is siesta a true Spanish word? And if it is, does it mean? We can see right now the picture is giving us some clues about what it means, but maybe you can do some research on siesta. Red beans, black beans, Boston baked and blue, cocoa kidney, coffee, I messed it up, but pinto and jelly too. Maybe you need to look in your cabinets. See how many of those beans that you have. Are those all the same types of beans? Why is it funny that they put it in here? And what other word on this page means beans? Okay, the word pop. The word pop, when you see words in text that represent a sound, that is called onomatopoeia. So I challenge you to see how many words that you know that are really onomatopoeia. Pop is an onomatopoeia because it's a sound. Think of your comic books. Here's some more examples of onomatopoeia. Bangito, crashito, papito, skipito. Skipito's not onomatopoeia, but bang, crash, pop, all onomatopoeia. Also, here is a picture of Skippyjon's closet exploding. On the next page, it says, then out flew Candy, beanbag doggies, and the kitty boy with his birthday piñata on his head. How many of those things can you count coming out of his closet? I'll post a picture in the comments of this page with that text, and you guys can have your maybe younger kids or even older kids count how many of those individual things can you find coming out of his room, his closet. Again, what is a muchachita? Maybe look that up. And what does muy soft voice mean? What does muy mean? And lastly, let's make a prediction. This says, that night when he was supposed to be going to bed, Skippyjon began to bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. What happens when Skippyjon bounces on his big boy bed? And then he talks about having a mind of his own and how he can bounce for hours, and he knows he's a cat, but he doesn't really care. So do you think that Skippyjon will ever have another type of adventure where he becomes Skippito? Maybe you can write a story where he is Skippito. If you do, I want you to write that down and then practice reading it and then send it to me because I might post yours. Or do some pictures. Draw some illustrations that come from this book. There's so much that we can take from a book that we don't often expect. And Skippyjon Jones is just one of the best ones out there. There's a whole series of them, and I'm going to read some more to you guys. But I just wanted to start with this book because it's just one of my favorites. So I hope that my rambling has made some sense. I hope that you enjoyed the story that I read earlier, and that maybe this post will help you parents and kids come up with some ideas that doesn't seem like schoolwork, but that is fun to do and you're learning anyway. That's the goal. Stay safe out there. Talk to you later. Miss Brewington loves you.